Hi, and welcome to the Max Life Show. I'm Dr. Ben Lerner. Today we're talking about happy hormones with Dr. Renee Lopez. She is from Alabama. We're live at the Maximize Living Experience right here on site. There are hundreds of doctors roaming around in the hallways. And happy hormones, that's become a really popular topic. Now, I'll tell you that I've been a doctor for over 25 years. And when I started, you didn't see a lot of the weird kind of problems that we have today. You just see these new things coming, these changes in people's health. Like it didn't used to be so many people couldn't get pregnant. Of course, skyrocketing autism, ADHD, depression, sleeplessness, and even the amount of weight people gain now versus when I started. So when I go back, when I was getting my nutrition degree in the 80s, we had to do nutritional counseling. And people would come in and had weight issues. But now the people that I'm counseling who have weight issues might be 100, 200 pounds bigger than my patients were back then. So something has clearly gone awry, and a lot of this has to do with hormones. What are you seeing in your practice, relative to hormones?
Unfortunately, I'm seeing kids with weight problems earlier and earlier, and it is a reflection of, oftentimes it is a reflection of lifestyle, which is why lifestyle is so important. But it's the inability for people to lose weight. Yeah. It's the inability, despite what they're doing at the gym, despite what, low calorie diet, they're avoiding all, these weird things that people go, the only grapefruit diet or things like that are just extreme. Number one, they're not sustainable. And number two, they're not working for people.
Yeah, it's there's this disproportionate weight to calorie ratio, and it's now that we can get so many more thousands of chemicals in our diets and in other places in the environment, I think the toxins have a big impact on this. So we know that toxins can really throw off hormones. There's actually environmental toxins that are called EEDs, environmental endocrine disruptors. So things we're exposed to in the environment that mimic our hormones, throw everything off. And again, anything from, even conditions like Alzheimer's. When I was younger, there was no condition known as Alzheimer's, and now the number is huge, in terms of the amount of people getting things like that. And I think it's so lifestyle related, and people don't know that. So what are some things people can do right now, just a couple of steps that they could take to start avoiding some of these toxins and other things?
Well, the first thing really is just to do a home evaluation. I would say that people, if they know that they are going to take this step, number one, find a coach or a doctor that's going to be able to help them. But do a home evaluation and just start with your pantry and then move to the refrigerator. And I find that, in the pantry is where you're going to have the shelf life of foods that can stay there for 3 years. And if you decide to eat them 3 years from now, they're still considered safe for you. They're certainly not going to be healthy for you, but they would be considered safe. So eliminating a lot of the boxed foods, the packaged foods, what I call convenient foods, grab and go. And that does, though, when you do that analysis and you pull some of those things out of your pantry, like as a mom with 2 kids, and I pack the lunches, pack the snacks, and it can be overwhelming to think, what in the world am I going to feed my family, or what am I going to do, because maybe you work 2 jobs, whatever, and how am I going to pull this off? But when you look at your pantry and you say, all right, I'm going to cut these 1 or 2 things that I know are my heavy hitters in terms of high calorie but no nutritional value, and you're going to move over to more live foods, then that would be just a good first step for people to start.
Yeah, I was reading recently where they're looking at how much younger girls are developing.
Absolutely.
And they're saying it's the toxins. It's the fact that they've got these endocrine disruptors that are mimicking their hormones and speeding up their development. Yes. And that's not good.
No.
When something like that happens, you are also speeding yourself towards problems down the road. And there are some pretty simple things too in terms of even hormonally based eating, we call it. So a diet that isn't so, they really push more the plant-based, which means grains and carbohydrates, and they move people away from quality fats and your more quality meats, and we start to create a hormonal issue there. Maybe you can talk a little bit about that.
Well, and not just the hormone issue, but the inflammatory issue as well. When you've got hormone dysregulation, you have toxicity or toxic burden in the body, and then you add some inflammation to it, now you're really at a recipe for disaster. So in terms of eliminating or looking at the heaviest hitter, sugar, just refined white sugar, is going to be in the majority of most people top on their list of things that they need to avoid, or at least start looking at how you can significantly decrease it on a daily basis.
Yeah, and it's in everything, and a lot of things convert to sugar. So people think, well, I'm not eating sugar, I'm eating pasta or rice.
Right.
And I remember thinking those were health foods, and people still think those are health foods, not realizing you're just slightly moved a little bit to the right of sugar, because it's just something that's white like that processed turns right into sugar anyways.
I remember when I was in graduate school, this is 16 years ago, I was a TA, so I was a teacher's assistant, which meant I got to teach my own class. And I was teaching undergraduate, and I put a challenge out there to them to eliminate everything white. So it was white bread, white rice, white pasta, and mayonnaise. I don't know why I picked mayonnaise, but it was just, I wanted 4 things. And just by doing that, and this was years ago, just by doing that, the students that followed through with it already saw changes very quickly in just that 6 weeks, saw changes very quickly in body fat and weight, but also how they were sleeping at night. Because when we're toxic, when we have inflammation and our hormones are being affected by all of that, then it's not just fat burning hormones that we're talking about, or holy hormones. It's our sleep hormones. It's our immune system is affected. It's all of our entire body. Yeah. So it really is something that is so significant, and people just need to draw the line in the sand and be committed to doing it, making a change.
Yeah, when you think of hormonal, you think of course, somebody who's irritable, somebody who's not sleeping, somebody who feels sick, and then of course we know now putting on weight and maybe unable to lose it. And your point earlier, if we're eating food, whole foods, that's always safe. I've done tens of thousands of nutritional analysis, and I've never found the problem to be, there's just too many, apples here.
Too much broccoli in your diet. Yeah. Your kid eats way too many carrots.
No, that's never the issue. And people say, well, tell me about the best fruits or vegetables. Right. And there are some that are better than others, but at the same time, it's a whole food diet, not whole foods necessarily, but whole food diet that makes the difference.
Yes.
And in fact, when we started, because that was my early experiences, that even personally, when I had to lose weight for wrestling, if I just ate a lot of apples, I could eat all I wanted and still make weight. But you throw in some grains and flours in there, you get in trouble. And then of course, with grains, you've got the inflammation, you've got the sugar, and the fact that these things are genetically modified. Essentially, the wheat you're eating today is like the great grandson of some redneck wheat that married its sister. It's so far removed from DNA wise from what it's supposed to be. So you're causing a lot of harm there also, and it leads to a lot of the stuff people see today. I've actually got a couple of things I want to talk about. One is I was listening to these vaccine commercials, and they list all the side effects. And of course, we already have what people miss about vaccination or any medication is that it's the cumulative effect of lots of medication, lots of toxicities, lots of these things, and we miss that. So it's not so much that it's like we're anti-drug or anti-vaccine. We're minimized toxins is essential number 5, and if you're loading up, there's going to be repercussions to that. There's just no doubt about it. So then now they're, of course, really pushing it on adults. We would prefer to say that, hey, we're not saying that these problems aren't serious. So like bacterial infection, this particular vaccine that's come out, bacterial infection is a problem you should do a lot to prevent, like be healthy, like eat whole foods, like get adjusted, like make sure you're exercising, do all these things to promote good health so that you fight off infection, get over it if you have the problem, versus more toxins that lead to other issues. So, like for example, this Pneumovax 23, they list the side effects, and the side effects are Guillain-Barré syndrome, which is very serious neurological disorder, life-threatening allergic reaction, seizures, arthritis, and an increase in white blood cells. So personally, I'd rather just boost my immunity to fight off the infection, not take something like that. So in just a little bit more on with your kids, your family, how are you guys doing this? You obviously have a very conscious approach to minimizing toxins, which again has this nice benefit of fighting off infections, having healthy hormones. Because what I like about your family, because we've hung out and vacationed, you have lots of like really tasty things to eat. And so for most people, they think, well, it's going to be too expensive. It'll taste bad. The kids will never eat it. And that's certainly not the case when we're hanging around you.
So I think for my family, how we approach, and I'm fortunate that I started researching and understanding this lifestyle through my chiropractic education before I had kids. So I get, if you are just new to this, don't panic. You can still make subtle changes, small changes, and implement it into your family. So I think that's important to say. If you're starting from scratch right now and your kids are already 5 and 6, 7 years old, it's okay. But for us, it's weekly adjustments. We do our analysis of our kid's spine on a regular basis to make sure that as my son plays baseball or football, or if they're just wrestling, my daughter does gymnastics, that the cumulative effects of stress are not catching up with them, that we're constantly overcoming that. So I think that's primary for our family. And then the second thing, to speak to what you said earlier about the whole foods and the exercise and the minimizing toxins, also critically important. I lump that into life planning or life management. And for me, it's about preparation. And so some of the things that I do personally on Sunday afternoon, I spend about an hour and a half and just making sure I've got school stuff lined up, dinners and everything, lunches, everything is lined up, making sure that we're stocked, and anything that needs to be chopped and prepped ahead of time, we do that. I don't cook during the week. We eat whole foods during the week. I don't cook during the week, but we warm up. I don't use a microwave. So it's, you taught me this, you and your wife taught me this. Whoever the first person is in the door knows what to turn the oven on and start warming up. And so, but everything's prepared and we're ready to go. So I would say it's just get adjusted and then planning your week. Just chunk it a week at a time.
And people think too, again, it tastes bad, but I know you're really good at finding recipes, finding, chocolates and foods like that taste good but are still healthy.
I get a lot off Maximize Living blog. Dr. Kimberly and Dr. BJ Hardick, I get a lot of recipes from them, and I'll tweak it and try it. I'm not a baker by nature. I don't like to measure stuff. And I do find that sometimes with the treats and the chocolates, to get the consistency to come out and it look pretty, you need to follow the plan a little bit more intensely. But my kids don't really care if it looks good. It's all about the taste.
Yeah, my daughter, we did a metabolics test, found she had low omega-3s. Mm-hmm. She hates anything that would have an omega-3 in it. But we've figured out chia seed pudding, one of our recipes, and she likes chia seed pudding. That's awesome. She's getting a dessert. Yeah. She's getting something sweet like she likes, and she's getting omega-3s. Right. And so that's what I think people miss is you're eating dessert, and it's actually not just that it's not bad for you, it's actually good for you.
Well, I think starting our day with a shake, I love to hear my daughter, who's 7 years old, every morning she hears, my husband start that blender. Get me some shake, Daddy. And I just love to hear that because I know that it's got, the amino acid, it's got everything that is going to go straight into her cells, be able to be utilized, and it's just setting her up for a great day. And I love being able to do that.
Yeah, we hide a lot in the smoothie, my daughter, again, she loves smoothies, so we dump flax seeds in there. We have our liquid and powdery vitamins that we get in there, so she thinks she's just getting like a milkshake, a treat. Yeah,
they literally think it's an ice cream shake.
No, and I'm making sure she's healthy.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, well, it's time for our Rorschach speed round. So this is where we get to know you a little better. We do a little psychological evaluation. Okay. So it's just your immediate answer. So we were looking for the first thing out of your brain.
All right.
Remember, there are no wrong answers, only wrong people.
Okay.
So, first one, novel or nonfiction?
Nonfiction.
T-shirt or polo?
T-shirt.
Bench press or burpee?
Burpee.
Beatles or Michael Jackson?
Michael Jackson.
Favorite Britney Spears husband?
Ooh.
You would be insane if you got that one.
Okay.
That's supposed to stump everyone.
Okay, good.
Or you would be on this show.
Okay, great.
Well, thanks for your time. Hopefully everybody got a lot out of this. I know this is great stuff because it is tough for the family to lead a max life. It's not too bad on your own, but you throw some kids in the mix and it gets a lot tougher. Check us out on MaximizeLiving.com. Find one of our doctors near you and learn more about the 5 essentials. Go to drbenlerner.com to subscribe to the podcast. Send us your ab pics and you can win an Abner. Remember to think, but not think like the majority. Remember to fail big, but fail forward. If your culture isn't working out, join ours. And consider this proverb. There's one who scatters, yet increases more. There's one who withholds more than is right, but it leads to poverty. Like Stuart Scott said, have a great rest of your life.